of a person is going to be, on the sirat, is going to be determined by how they live their life in this world. So, the munafiqun, you'll see, they'll be like, we were with you in this world, so let us benefit from some of your light. But on that day, there will be no benefit for them. So, let's start reading, inshallah. Well, he's coming, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the preface, a Madinian surah that urges the believers to spend in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's cause and uphold justice. The surah takes its title from ayah mentioned in verse 25. The all-pervasiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power, knowledge, control, and glory is affirmed to encourage the believers to right action, and the fate of the hypocrites is described. Previous prophets والسلام, are mentioned, especially Nuh, Ibrahim, and Isa والسلام, showing the response they received. The surah closes with a reference to the people of the book and an allusion to the bounty of the prophethood given to the Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in the name of Allah, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. Everything in the heavens and the earth glorifies Allah. He is the Almighty, the Wise. Control of the heavens and the earth belongs to Him. He gives life and death. He has power over all things. He is the first and the last, the outer and the inner. He has knowledge of all things. It was He who created the heavens and earth in 6 days, and then established Himself on the throne. He knows what enters the earth and what comes out of it, what descends from the sky and what ascends to it. He is with you wherever you are. He sees all that you do. Control of the heavens and earth belong to Him. Everything is brought back to Allah. He makes night merge into the day and day into night. He knows what is in every heart. Right? So the first 6 verses are talking about who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is and why He subhanahu wa ta'ala deserves to be glorified. That why He subhanahu wa ta'ala is above and beyond anyone or anything else because of all of these things mentioned. No one can challenge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any one of these things. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, believe in Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and give out of what He has made pass down to you. Those of you who believe and give will have great reward. Why should you not believe in Allah when the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam calls you to believe in your Lord and has already made a pledge with you if you have faith? It is He who has sent down clear revelations to His servant so that He may bring you from the depths of darkness into light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is truly kind and merciful to you. Why should you not give for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's cause when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone will inherit what is in the heavens and the earth? Those who gave and fought before the triumph are not like others. They are greater in rank than those who gave and fought afterwards. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised a good reward to all of them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fully aware of all that you do. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these set of ayat is talking about giving. And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done for us, whatever we have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that provided for us, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا جَعَلَكُمْ مُسْتَخْلَفِينَ فِيهِ. Give from whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you. Then all people, right, who give are not equal. لا يستوي منكم من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل أولئك أعظم درجة من الذين أنفقوا من بعد وقاتلوا وكلا وعد الله الحسنى. Right? If a person gives, say that person gives at the initial time of giving, is he equal to the one that gives towards the end? No. So the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam here that the ones that gave and spent in the early days of Islam and those that fought in the early days of Islam, before the Fath of Mecca, they are not equal to the ones that fought after. The ones who fought in the initial stages, they're always they're always above, right? They always have higher ranking. That's why when we talk about the status of the companions of radiallahu anhum, there's no one that can come in comparison to the Arba'a Khulafa Rashidin. Then the Ashram Mubashirin bil-Jannah. Then Ashab al-Badr. Right? Then Bay'atul Ridwan. Then the people that came after Fajr. Because why? When the companions of the initial stages, there was no other Muslims on the earth except for them. So they're not equal to the ones that came after when Islam became in a position of power and authority. So always, whenever you have the opportunity to do good, be at the forefront. Right? And then people will follow. But you don't want to be among the people that wait. And want to have them, think that you want to wait for the other people to do good things and then you do it. No, you want to be leading good characteristics, good behavior, and set the precedent.
will make God a good loan. He will double it for him and reward him generously. On the day when you, Prophet ﷺ, see the believers, both men and women, with their light streaming out ahead of them, and to their right they will be told, the good news for you today is that there are gardens graced with flowing streams where you will stay. That is truly the supreme triumph. On the same day, the hypocrites, both men and women, will say to the believers, wait for us, let us have some of your light. They will be told, go back and look for a light. A wall with a door will be erected between them. Inside it lies mercy, outside lies torment. The hypocrites will call out to the believers, were we not with you? They will reply, yes, but you allowed yourselves to be tempted. You were hesitant, doubtful, deceived by false hopes until God's command came. The deceiver tricked you about God. Today no ransom will be accepted from you or from the disbelievers. Your home is the fire. That is where you belong, a miserable destination. Is it not time for believers to humble their hearts to the remembrance of God and the truth that has been revealed, and not to be like those who received the scriptures before them, whose time was extended, but whose hearts hardened, and many of whom were lawbreakers? Remember that God revives the earth after it dies. We have made our revelation clear to you so that you may use your reason. Charitable men and women who make a good loan to God will have it doubled and have a generous reward. Those who believe in God and his messengers are the truthful ones who will bear witness before their Lord. They will have their reward and their light. But those who disbelieve and deny our revelations are the inhabitants of hell. Bear in mind that the present life is just a game, a diversion, an attraction, a cause of boasting among you, of rivalry in wealth and children. It is like plants that spring up after the rain. Their growth at first delights the sowers, but then you see them wither away, turn yellow, and become stubble. There is terrible punishment in the next life, as well as forgiveness and approval from God. The life of this world is only illusionary pleasure. So race for your Lord's forgiveness in a garden as wide as the heavens and earth, prepared for those who believe in God and his messengers. That is God's bounty, which he bestows on whoever he pleases. God's bounty is infinite. No misfortune can happen either.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayat, in these ayat, he mentions on the day of judgment where a person's light is, the believer's light is going to be on the right, on the left, it's going to be guiding their path, okay, on the sirat. But the munafiqun, they'll be saying, wait for us, let us have some of your light. So they'll be like, no, go back, and there'll be a barrier that is placed between them, right? And the believers will be in mercy, and the hypocrites, they'll be in punishment. يُنَادُونَهُمْ أَلَمْ نَكُمْ مَعَكُمْ. They'll call them out, they'll be having a conversation. Weren't we with you? Weren't we with you? Were we there for you? Then they'll say, yeah, but you allowed yourself to be tempted. Temptation, right? Hesitancy, right? You were hesitant, doubts, deceived by false hopes until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command came. The deceiver tricked you. Who's the deceiver? Shaitan. Right? Shaitan tricked you, and nothing will be accepted from you. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَمْ يَأْنِ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَمَا نَزَلَ مِنَ الْحَقِّ. Hasn't it come time for the believers to humble their hearts to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do not be like the people that got scripture before you, and then time passed, and then they forgot the lessons of their scripture. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, he revives the earth after it dies. Okay, what does that have to do with what preceded it? Think about it. Look at verse 17 and 16 and put them together. What's the relationship between the two? And you can put 18 in there too. No? Go ahead.
Just remember, you'll be brought back to life and you'll be accountable for your actions.
Okay, you'll be accountable for your actions. A little deeper than that. A little deeper.
We'll have a second life.
Second life, okay. Who else? Anybody else? Alright. Sometimes people may think that my heart is so dead, there's nothing that can revive it. When I hear the Quran, it doesn't have any effect on me. When I hear khutbahs, when I hear speeches, you know what? Nothing moves me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is saying, understand, the one who revives the earth after it is dead, isn't he the same one that can revive your hearts? How is that done though? Through revelation and giving charity and believing in Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So no one should lose hope. Say that, I don't feel anything when I do my ibadah. When I come to Tarawih, when I come read Quran, it's like a chore rather than an act of ibadah. That's fine. Sometimes that happens. But make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who brings the earth back to life is also the one that can bring life to your heart. So never lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then a few ways you can do this: revelation, charity, believe in Allah and His messengers, alayhi salatu wasalam. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the reality of this world. يَعْلَمُ أَنَّمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا لَعِبٌ. Right? La'ib is like play, entertainment. وَلَهْ, distraction. وَزِينَةٌ, zina is amusement, right? Like glitz, glamour. وَتَفَاخُرٌ, competition. Not in good deeds. تَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَوْلَادِ. Right? In wealth, in children. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He compares it to a farmer that plants seeds. And he sees that the seeds are very beneficial and he's very happy at the product. But he thinks that those things are going to last forever, but in reality there's going to come a time when all of these things are taken away. Then what's going to remain? Only forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or punishment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Sabiqu, race. Don't compete with each other in terms of wealth, in terms of children, in terms of things in the world, but compete with each other, race with each other in terms of good deeds. To the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Jannah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the true bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Things in this world are not signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's bounty or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. He gives to the kafir and He gives to the believer. But the akhirah, He only gives to the believer. So strive for the akhirah before anything else, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring you the dunya as well.
No misfortune can happen, either in the earth or in yourselves, that was not set down in writing before. We brought it into being. That is easy for God. So you need not grieve for what you miss or gloat over what you gain. God does not love the conceited, the boastful, those who are miserly, and who tell other people to be miserly. If anyone turns away, remember that God is self-sufficient and worthy of praise. We sent our messengers with clear signs, the scripture and the balance, so that people could uphold justice. We also sent iron, with its mighty strength and many uses for mankind, so that God would find out those who would help Him and His messengers, though unseen. Truly, God is powerful, almighty. We sent Nuh a.s. and Ibrahim a.s. and gave prophethood and scripture to their offspring. Among them, there were some who were rightly guided, but many were lawbreakers. We sent other messengers to follow in their footsteps. After those, we sent Isa a.s., son of Maryam a.s. We gave him the gospel and put compassion and mercy into the hearts of his followers. But monasticism was something they invented. We did not ordain it for them, only to seek God's pleasure, and even so, they did not observe it properly. So we gave a reward to those of them who believed, but many of them were lawbreakers. Believers, be mindful of God and have faith in His messenger. He will give you a double share of His mercy. He will provide a light to help you walk. He will forgive you. God is most forgiving, most merciful. The people of the book should know that they have no power over any of God's bounty, and that bounty is in the hand of God alone. He gives it to whoever He will. God's grace is truly immense.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned that anything that happens, whether it's good or bad, is already written by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if something good happens, we shouldn't get overly excited, because that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants for us. If something bad happens, we shouldn't get overly depressed, because that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote for us to test us. So we need to have balance between two extremes. And nothing, no matter what we do, we can't go back and change the past. Right? We cannot change the past, so we can learn from the past and make better decisions in the future. But we cannot change the past, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to us about His qadr. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that He doesn't love those that are stingy. Okay, what does the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have to do with stinginess? The reason I'm asking you these questions is because part of our belief is that every ayah is placed in its proper order by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? These ayat might have been revealed at different times. But whenever there was an ayah that was revealed, Jibreel alayhi salam used to tell the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, put it in this surah, in this place. So there is a relationship between each ayah with the next. So what's the relationship between the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and being stingy? Yes, very good. Jazakumullah khairan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written everything for a person. However much a person is going to get, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already decided. So if you give or you don't give, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to provide for whoever He wants, however He wants, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by giving, you are not going to be harming yourself at all. Right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already decided what a person is going to get. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about how He has sent down أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمْ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ لِيَقُومَ النَّاسُ بِالْقِسْطِ, that He has sent down the revelation and He has sent down the iron so that people can establish justice. Okay? Then He has balance and people can uphold justice. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned some of the nations of the past, and one of the things He mentioned about Isa alayhi salatu wasalam is that in some of them وَجَعَلْنَا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ رَأْفَةً وَرَحْمَةً. Yeah, He put in the hearts of His followers rahmah and rafa, right? Mercy. But وَرَهْبَانِيَّةً ابْتَدَعُوهَا مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ. Monasticism, right? Isolating themselves from the world, being monks in their monasteries. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not write this for them, right? And they wrote this for themselves and they did not follow its rights because it's something that is unnatural. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, part of the reason we're in insan, يَأْنِسُ بَعْضُنَا بِبَعْضٍ, that we like to be around people. If we isolate ourselves from people, then that will have psychological effects, that will have sociological effects, that will have emotional effects, right? If there's a prisoner, right, and he's misbehaving, what do they do to him? Solitary confinement. Why? Because they want to isolate him from the people, because that's a punishment in and of itself. They don't beat him, they don't torture him, sometimes they might, but they just put him by himself, away from the people. Why? Because automatically that will have an effect on the people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, رَهْبَانِيَّةً مَا كَتَبْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ. In Islam, there's no such thing as monasticism. We interact with the people, we get married, we have children, we have families, right? We don't isolate ourselves from the people. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَآمِنُوا بِرَسُولِهِ. Verse 28, He says, "Oh, you who believe, have taqwa of Allah and believe in His messenger." Okay? It's called the conditional statement. If you do this, what will we get in return? Double share the reward. Anything that people in the past have will get double the reward. What else? يُؤْتِكُمْ كِفْلَيْنِ مِنْ رَحْمَتِهِ وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ نُورًا. And He'll give us what? تَمْشُونَ بِهِ. Nura, what's nur?
Light.
Light. Has anybody ever felt, and we all feel this at times, I'm lost, I don't know what to do. Right? Light is a path. That will, the light from the Quran and the Sunnah, through following Allah and obeying following His Messenger, obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a light that you can cross, right? Light. وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ. And He'll forgive your sins. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that the people of the book, they don't have any monopoly on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's bounty, but the people who follow Allah and His messengers, alayhi salatu wasalam, this is the people that are truly blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all and give us all the ability to follow His Quran and His Sunnah and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Okay, then inshallah we'll go into Mujadala. Mujadala it's two ways, right? It can be Mujadala or Mujadila. Mujadala is the dispute or the argument that happened. Mujadila is the woman that made the complaint. So either way, the surah is recited both ways. So a woman came complaining to the Prophet ﷺ of something that her husband said to her, right, called dihad. He compared his wife to the back of his mother and said that he's not going to approach her and not have relations with her. Then he went and he tried to have relations with her. So she said that you can't touch me until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals something in regards to this. And she went to the Prophet ﷺ to complain, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed verses regarding this. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this surah mentions that if there's 2 people or 3 people, the 4th is Allah. Right? If there's 5, the 6th is Allah. So whatever we talk about, never think we're truly alone, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is recording everything.
The dispute. Another surah which disallows a specific pagan divorce practice. The surah takes its title from the dispute referred to in verse 1 between a wife who had been divorced in this manner and the Prophet ﷺ. The surah supports the woman. It goes on to state that those who oppose God and His Messenger, who secretly ally themselves with shaitan, who lie in their oaths and make intrigues against the Prophet ﷺ will be defeated and suffer humiliation, both in this world and the next, while those on God's side will triumph. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. God has heard the words of the woman who disputed with you, Prophet ﷺ, about her husband and complained to God. God has heard what you both had to say. He is all hearing, all seeing. Even if any of you say to their wives, "You are to me like my mother's back," they are not their mothers. Their only mothers are those who gave birth to them. What they say is certainly blameworthy and false, but God is pardoning and forgiving. Those of you who say such a thing to their wives, then go back on what they have said, must free a slave before the couple may touch one another again. This is what you are commanded to do, and God is fully aware of what you do. But anyone who does not have the means should fast continuously for 2 months before they touch each other. And anyone able to do this should feed 60 needy people. This is what you may truly have. This is so that you may truly have faith in God and His Messenger. These are the bounds set by God. Grievous torment awaits those who ignore them. Those who oppose God and His Messenger will be brought low, like those before them. We have revealed clear messages, and humiliating torment awaits those who ignore them. On the day when God will raise everyone and make them aware of what they have done. God has taken account of it all, though they may have forgotten. He witnesses everything. Do you not see, Prophet ﷺ, that God knows everything in the heavens and earth? There is no secret conversation between 3 people where He is not the 4th, nor between 5 where He is not the 6th, nor between less or more than that without Him being with them, wherever they may be. On the day of resurrection, He will show them what they have done. God truly has full knowledge of everything. Have you not seen how those who have been forbidden to hold secret conversations go backwards and hold them, and conspire with one another in what is sinful, hostile, and disobedient to the Messenger? When they come to you, they greet you with words God has never used to greet you, and say inwardly, "Why does God not punish us for what we say?" Hell will be punishment enough for them. They will burn there, an evil destination. You who believe, when you converse in secret, do not do so in a way that is sinful, hostile, and disobedient to the Messenger, but in a way that is good and mindful of God. Be mindful of God, to whom you all will be gathered. Any kind of secret conversation is the work of shaitan, designed to cause trouble to the believers, though it cannot harm them in the least unless God permits it. Let the believers put their trust in God. You who believe, if you are told to make room for one another in your assemblies, then do so, and God will make room for you. And if you are told to rise up, do so. God will raise up by many degrees those of you who believe and those who have been given knowledge. He is fully aware of what you do. You who believe, when you come to speak privately with the Messenger ﷺ, offer something in charity before your conversation. That is better for you and purer. If you do not have the means, God is most forgiving and merciful. Were you worried about giving charity before consulting the Prophet ﷺ? Since you do not give charity and God has relented towards you, you should at least observe your prayers, pay the prescribed alms, and obey God and His Messenger. God is well aware of your actions.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the beginning of the surah gives a hukum in regards to dhihar. Right? If a person makes a statement to his wife and then after wants to go back and have relations with his wife, he cannot do so until he does one of 3 things. Right? Free a slave. If he's not able to find a slave or free a slave, which we're not able to do in this day and age, he has to fast 2 months consecutively, right? Which can either be 58 or 60, 59 days, right? Consecutively. Then, if he can't do that, if he doesn't have the physical ability to do that, then he has to feed 60 needy people before he can go back and have relations with his wife. So here, what you need to understand, and the point that we want to drive home, is that we have to be careful about what we say. Don't think that our words don't have consequences. A person can make a statement, and they don't understand the significance of that statement, but it can have detrimental consequences, right? And very serious consequences. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in verse 8, He said, one thing that might need a little bit of clarification, is that when they come to you, they greet you with words Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has never used to greet you, and say inwardly, why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not punish us for what we say? Some of the Jews, what they used to do was, when they came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, instead of saying assalamu alaikum, they would say assamu alaikum. Right? Assamu means like poison or death be upon you, instead of assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, right? So they say that why are we being punished for what we say? If we're asking for the death of the Prophet ﷺ, why are we being punished? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the punishment is going to come. If they don't repent, the punishment is going to come. Then in verse 11, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when it's told for you to make space in a gathering, make space. Not necessarily for only the people that you know. I know some people, they know if their brother's coming, their cousins coming, their daughter's coming, their son's coming, they'll make space. No, when it's told for you in a gathering, make space, but maybe people that you don't know. Make space for them. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes space for you. What does this mean? If you make things easy for people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make things easy for you. But if you make things difficult for people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make things difficult for you. Right? And this is an issue. Like, we can expand on this a lot more. If we don't go out of our way to say salam to people that we don't know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't like that behavior from us. Right? And a lot of us, we have this issue. Right? If we say salam, we only say salam to people that we know, and this is something which we have to be careful of, we have to avoid, because this shows arrogance. This shows arrogance. If we only say salam to people, why should I say salam to them? Why shouldn't they say salam to me? This is an arrogant mentality, arrogant attitude. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from this, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humble whoever has this attitude, this mentality, in this dunya before the akhirah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in what used to happen, it didn't happen for a long period of time. They would say that whoever wanted to talk to the Prophet ﷺ in private, they had to give charity before doing so. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abrogated this, and He said, no, you don't have to do this. You can speak to the Prophet ﷺ in private, but at least establish your salah, give your zakah, and obey Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The last part of the surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will talk about a group of people that their loyalty, they're not loyal, they're disloyal people. They never make firm commitments, and they try to make oaths with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They try, when they don't make firm commitments, or their loyalty is tested and challenged, what happens? In this world, they get away from it. But they're fooled into thinking that when they're in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they can have the same attitude, same mentality, and they'll be okay. Right?
Have you not seen Prophet ﷺ, those who give their loyalty to people with whom God is angry? They are neither with you nor with them, and knowingly swear to lies. God has prepared a severe torment for them. What they do is truly evil. They have used their oaths to cover up their false deeds and barred others from the path of God. A humiliating torment awaits them, and neither their wealth nor their children will be of any use to them against God. They will be the inhabitants of hell, where they will remain. On the day God raises them all from the dead, they will swear before Him as they swear before you now, thinking that it will help them. What liars they are. Shaitan has gained control over them and made them forget God. They are on Shaitan's side, and Shaitan's side will be the losers. Those who oppose God and His messenger will be among the most humiliated. God has written, I shall most certainly win, I and my messengers. God is powerful and almighty. Prophet ﷺ, you will not find people who truly believe in God in the last day, loving those who oppose God and His messenger, even though they may be their fathers, sons, brothers, or other relations. These are the people in whose hearts God has inscribed faith, and whom He has strengthened with His Spirit. He will let them enter gardens graced with flowing streams, where they will stay. God is well pleased with them, and they with Him. They are on God's side, and God's side will be the one to prosper.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, have you seen the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with? Alright, what are the characteristics of those that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He's angry with?
Who swears and lies?
They swear and lies. They make false oaths and promises and say, Wallahi, we're with you. Wallahi, we'll support you, and all these things, but they have no intention of doing so. What else? ما هم منكم ولا منهم ويحلفون على الكذب وهم يعلمون أعد الله لهم عذابا شديدا ساء ما كانوا يعملون. Okay. What else? They are not, who are they with? Sorry, say that? They're loyal to the people who are against us, but not really. They're here. In most cases, yes. But if they find that their loyalty to them is going to harm themselves, they're not loyal to them anymore. مَا هُمْ مِنْهُمْ وَلَا هُمْ مِنْهُمْ, right? مَا هُمْ مِنْكُمْ وَلَا هُمْ مِنْهُمْ. Meaning they're not truly with you, nor are they truly with them. They just look out for themselves. They don't care about anybody else. Okay? Then, وَيَحْلِفُونَ, and then they make oaths while they lie. So Allah, what has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared for them? Right? A punishment, fire. What's going to happen to their, are their children and their wealth going to be able to benefit them? No. What are they going to do when they're rised up by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Right back to life by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is their strategy? They'll lie again. And they'll make their oaths. And they'll double down. And they'll say that they think that they're on something because in the world it works. No one in this world knows what's in a person's heart. If someone comes to you and says, Wallahi, I'll be with you, or Wallahi, I'll support you, Wallahi, I have your back, or whatever, these type of things. We'll say, you know what, this person might be sincere, he's making all these oaths, he's mentioning the name of Allah, we'll trust him. But in the hereafter, it's not going to work. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that the believers, who are the believers? The believers are those that they believe in Allah in the last day. They do not love those who oppose Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? From a religious point of view. Right? If somebody does not love Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the believers don't love him as a believer, and they love Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than these people, even if they're the closest people to them. Fathers, brothers, tribe people, right? And children, doesn't matter. They love Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam more. These are the people that have true iman. This is a concept called al-wala wal-bara. Al-wala wal-bara is our allegiance, is to those that love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam over anybody else, and we disassociate ourselves with those that hate Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that these أُولَٰئِكَ حِزْبُ اللَّهِ أَلَا إِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. These are the party of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the group that will truly be successful. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ability to be on the side of Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alright, Surah Hashab, it's called the banishment or the gathering of forces. It's also called Banu Nadir. Banu Nadir was a tribe in Medina of Jews that the Prophet ﷺ and the Muslims, they expelled. Why did they expel them? Because they broke their treaty, and they ended up fortifying themselves in their forts, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He put fear in their hearts. So they themselves were afraid of what was going to happen to them. So their story is mentioned in this surah, Banu Nadir or Surah Hashab. Also in Surah Hashab, the last 3 ayahs are talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His names and attributes. وَاللَّهُ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ عَالِمُ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ هُوَ الرَّحْمَنُ الرَّحِيمُ. This is in this surah as well. Also in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about, some people, they fear others more than they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have to be careful about that as well.